Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we have Austin's ugly mug back on the channel. I know you guys enjoy when he comes on here, and I'm on spring break. You took some time off work.
Yep, I took a little vacation.
Yeah, so we're both back in our hometown, and we figured we'd make a video.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of you guys have been wanting to hear about some like other people's perspectives on EDC gear and knives. And so Austin brought some of his favorite pocket knives. We're going to talk about them. But before we get into all of that, I've got some questions to ask you.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, so what's your favorite blade shape?
I think Tonto actually might be one of my favorites. But then not quite a spear point, but the one this one has.
Oh yeah, I'd call it spear point.
Spear point would be
okay.
My second favorite.
Awesome. And so is that favorite based on like looks or utility or just?
I like Tonto because it looks menacing and mean, but it'd also be good for utility cuts and other cuts.
Yeah, sure.
So I mean, it's an all-around good cut, I think, or a good blade to cut with, anyways.
Yeah.
So.
A lot of people, I think, really like Tontos. They're pretty popular. I don't own a whole lot of Tontos, but every Tonto that I've owned and used, I've really enjoyed. They're a lot more useful than I think a lot of people give them credit for. Because they're kind of sticky, stabby, pokey.
Yeah.
But they're also just great EDC tools. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually, I think I have maybe one or two maybe Tontos that are in my top 5 for the moment, and that's all around knife, not just blade. And also a lot of them are just sentimental.
Okay, awesome. So I'm looking at what you got here. I think I can guess what a couple of these are, but I know your collection pretty well. You know my collection pretty well. But okay, awesome. Next question. Do you have a favorite steel?
I've always been a fan of D2, but I haven't been like as knowledgeable of steel as you have been. But
I'm kind of a steel
the one that comes with the powdered steel.
Oh, the AR RPM9.
Yes, I like that one.
That is one of my favorite steels.
That's one of my favorite steels.
And speaking of D2, a lot of people are getting like kind of burned out on D2 in the community, and I think that's kind of silly because D2 is a good steel, especially for the prices you can get at. I mean, if you can get a $30 knife in D2,
oh yeah,
I mean, you're winning, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're getting a lot of performance for your money. It's a lot better than, we've bought $30 knives when we were kids. I bought a couple $30 knives as an adult that have 7CR, 8CR, and
then just poopy.
Yeah. So, if you can get D2 for that price, I think that's an absolute win.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hands down.
All right. So, we might ask more questions later, but let's go ahead. I'll let you take it away.
So, I think we'll start out with more of a sentimental favorite. It's one of probably the most advanced Ozark Trail we've ever had is this little guy right here. We got this knife when I was in school with Gideon, and we used to run around. This skinned all the rabbits that I had ever shot, so it's a really sentimental knife, and it's it's comfortable, and I've always just loved this little knife. I don't remember what it's called, but
Ozark Trail Tan Flipper or something.
Yeah, and it also had the G10 scales, which was one of the first times we'd ever seen G10.
Yeah.
Before
then it was all plastic.
Yeah, on one of the actual really good knives. But this one, it holds a special place in my heart for sure. And it's just a beautiful looking little knife.
Definitely a great design. I remember, like you said, every adventure we went on, this was in your pocket.
Yep, that was my everyday carry for ever, pretty much. Every time we went out to the mountains, that was the knife that I carried. He's a little TLC.
You were talking about skinning rabbits. I remember when we were kids, perfectly centered. It's held up great. Lockup is still pretty solid. You were talking about hunting rabbits. There was a time there for a while where we were obsessed with tanning rabbit hides.
Yes, we had them. We had every rabbit we shot, we skinned, and we
very
tried to
meticulously. We try and keep as much of the skin on as we could.
We even tried to fix the holes from the bullets.
Yeah. And then we got to the point where it was all headshots, and so we just wouldn't worry about the head.
And then I tried to do European mounts with rabbit skulls.
Yes.
Remember that? We both
I remember that, yes.
That did not go well at all.
Oh, we thought we were cool. No, but this knife, absolutely, it's been through hell, for sure. And it's still
I remember once, a long time ago, I had this knife in my pocket, and I was at my house, and I was running through the bushes, and I was chasing rabbits. And somehow, I don't remember if it got out of my pocket while I was running, but I had lost this knife, and I was devastated that I had lost this knife. And then, I think a couple months later, I was digging around in the couch, and it was sitting in the couch. And I was so relieved because I went back out and I retraced my steps trying to find my knife. I dug through bushes, I dug through dirt, couldn't find it. And a couple months later, I was doing something in the couch and I pulled it out and I was like, well, crap. It was a big relief to have this knife back. Because it fits comfortably in the hand. You can choke up on it really nice, which is always a good thing, especially when you're skinning.
Something my dad told me when I was younger was, if you lose your knife in the woods, you will never find it again, but someone else might.
Yeah. I'm just glad that didn't happen. I'm glad it was just in my couch. But it does have like that perfect blade for skinning rabbits.
Yeah. Some people call that a reverse Tonto. I like to call that blade shape like the spay blade. Mm-hmm. But really useful blade shape. I mean, to this day, you see knives coming out with very similar blade shapes. And, I mean, back when we were kids, I mean, we weren't that smart about this type of stuff. We just knew it worked good,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. And for the time, I mean, because we have this Ozark Trail and then this one that is just, it's night and day. That's like one of the first high quality, and that was like a $5 knife.
Yeah. It's a good knife. And, I mean, for a couple of teenagers with this much money,
yeah,
it was really good.
And that was before we actually were like, oh yeah, clips make a big difference.
I remember that was our biggest issue with knives as kids, is our clips would catch on branches, they'd catch on seatbelts, they'd catch on countertops.
Everything. You would hit it on everything.
Yeah.
All right, so that was one of my sentimentals. This one is probably, it holds a close place in my heart because I bought this one a long time ago, and this is my ginormous Smith & Wesson Tonto, my bordered guard. This one I used to carry this one all the time in school.
Yep.
And this one is a monster. It's just a big all-around knife, and I just thought that one was more of it's cool, it's big, it's heavy, it's perfect.
I remember when you first bought this, you came over to my house like the next day, and you told me on the phone, you're like, I got something to show you. I was like, okay. Come over to my house. I remember you pulled this out of your pocket, and I turned green. I was like, oh my gosh, I need one. It's the greatest pocket knife ever. I think this was also the first knife either of us owned that was tip-up carry.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, you really put this one through the ringer too.
Because before I bought that one, I had the old version, and I still have it. It's just falling apart. And that one would be on this list except for it's falling apart.
Yeah.
But this one, it was the first time that I actually had like the finger grooves in my knives. It did get a little annoying when you carried it because your clip was all the way down here. So all this would show up above your pocket. And I wear a belt, and so this would rub on my belt all the time, and just, you go to sit down and it would stab you at times. But I still carried this one, and I used to use it quite often, so it definitely is up there.
You talked about carrying knives in school, and we went to a really small, kind of rural school, and everyone carried a pocket knife.
Oh, yeah.
And different worlds, you know? Like, I know if we were in, one of the cities and you tried carrying that around,
Oh, yeah, you'd be
in jail.
Yeah, you would be suspended.
But, oh, yeah. I mean, my graduating class was 19 people, and one of them was a janitor.
Yeah. I had one that was in my grade that was supposed to be graduated before me.
Yeah.
I think I had a little more than 19. I think I had I had almost 30, I think.
Did you? That was a big class for our school.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
He graduated a year before me, so.
Yeah, Yeah, we're not that far.
We're not that far
age.
apart.
But yeah, this one, and it was the first time we actually had blood grooves on
Yeah.
blades. Because I was like, it just looked cool when I bought it, and then...
And when you're a kid...
And it was the first one that actually had a good seatbelt cutter.
Yeah, you buy knives because they're cool. I mean, let's be honest.
And it was the start of a addiction that got slowly worse.
I mean,
and this
look
is
at
the
this.
one it got us into glass breakers, seatbelt cutters,
Yeah, for a while
all
there,
kinds of stuff.
I would not carry a knife that didn't have a glass breaker or seatbelt cutter on it because, I just...
Because that was the thing.
Well, especially
back for
since,
us.
16 years old, we're driving around more being stupid. We knew we were going to be in a wreck eventually.
Yeah, it wasn't a if, it was when.
It was a win. And we were! I wrecked my green pickup several times.
Yeah, yes you did. Yes you did. You got it stuck a lot.
I got stuck a lot.
You got this one stuck.
I got this one stuck.
That was a good day.
That was a good day.
That's the first time we put the carnivore into action.
Yes. In fact, I've still got it in the truck. I
That's
carry
a
it
good
around.
knife.
I carry it around to this day because I know it'll work.
Yeah, this is it definitely holds a place in my heart for sentimental reasons, but it doesn't get carried as much as it used to. Now it's just kind of retired for now.
I've got a box of retired knives. It's nice to just go and look through them and just be like, just relive the good old days. Right?
Oh, exactly. You go through and you're like, yeah, the good old days when I used to carry that chunk of metal. And I always liked my heavy knives. But then, let's see. I have, of course, probably one of my favorite knives. This one definitely is in my top 5.
Oh, yeah. We've had this knife on the channel a couple of times. Guys.
I have to fix them. This is what we're talking about with the clips.
Yeah, we're going to fix that. But if you've seen the videos I've made on the Camillus Chunk, we've had Austin in. I'm not kidding. Buy one. They're great for the money. They are absolutely great.
Oh yeah, and then Gideon put a brand new edge on it, and it's a razor now. So, and it's just an all-around great little knife. I carry this for work every day. Whatever I need to cut with, this does the job just fine. Like that, the blade shape is perfect for all the cuts I need it to do. Whether it be cutting through bags of cold mix asphalt or cutting through plastic tarps that's over other things, or even rope, it's perfect for it. That's just an all-around good little knife. I've loved that one.
One thing I think we're going to start to see as a reoccurring theme in Austin's carry is the all blacked out.
Oh yeah.
Stuff.
Oh yeah.
You like that all blacked out?
Yeah, because so far we have 2.
We have 2, and I can already tell there's going to be more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I will say, I think the most boring knife, like color scheme, is a black handle with a satin blade. Like everyone does that.
The most basic look, but you throw a black blade on it, and then it changes the entire character of the knife.
I do like all blacked
Hands
out
down.
knives.
But I love this knife. Like I said, I carry it every day for work. It has not failed me once. It's never even come off center. It's never had wiggle. The only part I have is just the clip. But, I mean, when the knife works that well, I don't care about the clip.
Yeah, the clip is an easy fix.
Alright, let's see. Decisions. So, it's hard to... He told me to pick 5, and I can't pick 5 of my favorite knives, because that's...
I knew he wasn't going to.
That's terrible. But this one is one of my... Like, it's one of my favorites by far, and it's a charade. And this one, I mean, if I didn't have this on my list, it would be blasphemy, because this is like... This was my dad's knife, and... I mean, I've had this forever. And it's just... It's held up to time. It's an old classic. It's just a beautiful knife.
You know, I mentioned on this channel before, we grew up in a pretty close community. You know, lots of family, lots of support. You know, I always really, really admired my dad and my grandpa, and you know, all these great men who, you know, outdoorsmen, loggers, cowboys, ranchers. These guys who walked the walk and talked the talk. And your dad was one of the... I never met your dad.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a story there, but...
Yeah.
He was one of the greatest men.
Yeah, the stories
ever.
you hear from family members and friends around that just talk about him, it would have been nice to, you know, have actually got to know him, but, you know, But this is one of my favorite knives. I love this knife. This knife would go with me every time I'd go on a vacation. This would be the knife. It would always be in my backpack. I'd always carry this one with me. And it was my favorite for just the way it looks, the way it feels, but the sentimental, like this was my dad's knife, and I would just,
Yeah.
it was like having a piece of him wherever I went was always nice.
Exactly.
So this one is one of my favorites. It's always been, ever since I started getting into knives. It's always been there.
And that's another thing that we're going to see as a reoccurring theme already is the sentimental value, the connection that you make with these tools. Because honestly, there are very few objects that capture so much personality and memories as a knife, especially one like we just looked at that's been passed down from father to son to son to son. It carries a lot of history, it carries a lot of stories, and it's it's an heirloom.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
it's
an
exactly
heirloom.
what it is.
So
It's a family memento. So let's see, we'll move on to, we'll do this little guy. I like this knife a lot. Get it out of the box. It's the Real Steel. This little guy. This is another little Tonto. I just love this knife. It's so sleek, so small, but it's so snappy and so smooth in its movements. I carry this knife all the time, especially with another knife that we're going to look at here pretty soon. And it's like the perfect combination, I think, to carry those two together. But I just like it. It's so smooth looking. It's a beautiful knife all around.
now I remember these were a Blade HQ exclusive, and I'm not sure if there are any in stock anymore, but it's really cool. O-Stop Hell design. This is the Metamorph, and most of the other Metamorphs are front flippers. I think this is the only version that's actually a flipper, but again, we've got Austin's classic Tonto on there. I should have wore a different color because I knew
that's like these two are the perfect. They're like the Tonto and they're solid black.
I knew that Austin was going to have a bunch of black knives. I shouldn't have worn a black hoodie because look, it just like disappears. Knife, no knife. Knife.
It's typical. But and I'm usually not one for small, skinny knives, but this one, it definitely caught my eye when Gideon showed it to me the first time. And I knew that it was a knife that I could definitely everyday carry. And I have several times carried this one. It's definitely one of my favorites up there. It's so smooth, so snappy, and then just so sharp looking. Like, just look at that little, gorgeous little knife. Definitely one of my favorites. Now, we'll move on to one that I seen Gideon bought a long time ago, but he got the boring version.
No. I got a good version.
I had to get the better version.
I can't even argue. He's right.
This knife, when I seen he had one and he showed it to me, because you have the blue one.
Yeah, I've got
with the
two
red.
actually. I've got two. I've got one of the original in D2, and then I got one of the
These ones.
one of the ones in AR RPM 9.
And I seen when he pulled out his in the AR RPM 9. This one I was like, I need to have one. So I bought this knife and I carried it for quite a while, and I still do carry it every once in a while. But it's the solid black with those little red accents just make this whole thing pop.
And the
It's
CJRB
such a nice shape too. Like it feels like it just wants to go to work.
right. The CJRB Gobi, I think it's a really, really clean design. It kind of gives me Sinkovich vibes. The G10 is gorgeous.
Oh, it's a beautiful knife.
Red, black, kind of Darth Vader vibes. But I think it's kind of underrated. I don't hear a whole lot of people talk about these.
Yeah, and I don't know
anymore.
why, because that one is like, EDC carry is a great knife for EDC carry.
Very slim. Yeah, it's a really solid
It's so
knife.
smooth.
Very comfortable.
It's very comfortable knife. The shape of it is really comfortable. And that was one of the things that made me fall in love with it so much was, I mean, the blade shape is just wicked anyways, but then the ergonomics are just, they're perfect. You can get up on it if you need to, but I mean, it's like, if you need to go fight someone, this is a perfect little knife to do that. But I love this knife, and when he bought his and he showed it to me, I knew right away that I had to get my own. And then I found the cool version. Yours is cool. But is it black on black with red accents? Cool.
No, it is not. It's black, blue with red. I have a video where I show it off when I'm ranking my CGRB collection. Maybe I'll leave a card in here, or you can go find it yourself because you're adult.
You can watch all the videos until you find it.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, see, watch all my videos.
All right, so we're getting down the line. We're gonna start with these ones I'm carrying right now, but I also have the boxes for them. This one is my Concept, my Warrior, my lefty exclusive, and it's got the shredded carbon fiber on it with the titanium bolsters. It's a really nice knife, and I just love the shape of it too. This thing is a gorgeous knife, and it's also sentimental, but it's just a nice looking knife. This was a knife that I wore for my wedding, and so it holds a place in my heart for that as well. And it's just like, I mean,
and if you haven't noticed by now, 21 minutes into the video, Austin is a wrong-handed person.
I'm the only right person here. Maybe wrong of hand or right of mind.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Keep telling yourself that.
I'm not that special, but I'm just unique. Unlike Gideon, he's just a basic, boring human.
Basic, boring human.
Yep, you're right-handed.
The world is made for me, boy.
And that's why you're not special. Anyways, now that we get past that tangent. Anyways, but yeah, this one, I just love that knife.
Oh yeah,
the titanium clip too is nice.
This thing's gorgeous. I mean, look how shiny that, like, it's like reflecting all back in my truck.
It's lighting up all your rocks.
And yes, all the rocks in the back of my truck. It's a very interesting
design.
The blade,
that's what,
like, it's a drop point, but it's like kind of like hooks down at the end, like, a little bit.
It tries to be a drop point, Tonto, hook bill.
Yeah, it's like just really interesting. The jimping up here is kind of neat too. Very, very interesting knife. Austin did let me review this one on the channel a while back.
Yep.
So there's a video of it here. And we were talking earlier today, it's weird for me to handle this lefty knife right-handed. Like, this is what you feel like all the time.
All the time. Yep. Every knife I own is that way except for that one.
Yeah. But yeah, beautifully smooth. Concept, in a lot of ways, I think they're underrated. Even on my channel, I've reviewed a couple of Concepts, but
Concept makes some really good stuff.
Yeah, and I want to get some more. I want to get more Concepts on the channel, review some more, and
they're so high quality, and they're not even ridiculously expensive.
No, that's one thing I love about Concept is their prices are really, really good.
Because you get the shredded carbon fiber, you have the titanium bolsters,
S35VN blade steel.
It's a good little knife altogether. It's solid. You can feel that it's a solid knife when you hold it. And it's a good knife all the way around. I don't know why Concept doesn't get the attention it needs.
Yeah,
because it's definitely a really good knife.
I think everyone who reviews a Concept is like, oh yeah, you know, it's good, but I don't see people like going crazy over them. And honestly, I think that's a shame.
Yeah, it is. I mean, first of all, Concept comes out with the coolest boxes.
Yeah, their packaging is pretty fantastic.
I mean, you get the box, you get a cleaning cloth, you get all kinds of stuff. And then it comes in another little packet that your knife is sitting.
Yeah, and they even do that for the budget knives. So
But I mean, my knife was so cool, it's a numbered knife.
Oh, it's got a serial number on it, yeah.
Yep.
Ooh. Austin on again with his uniqueness.
That's right.
God complex.
One of a few, and you're one of many. Because you're lame.
You know, I gotta say, they say 10% of the population is left-handed. I think it's more than that.
I think so.
You're left-handed. My youngest brother's left-handed. I dated a girl who's left-handed. I have known so many left-handed people in my life.
Yeah.
I think it's way more than 10%. So knife companies, you need to start making more lefty-friendly knives. See?
Exactly.
I got your back.
See? You're such
so nice.
Such a bro. Now, I think probably my favorite has got to be my dagger. Like, this knife, I carry this knife all the time. I mean, it has one of the coolest clips I've ever seen on a knife before.
That's pretty insane.
The blade shape it just looks like it wants to hurt somebody, which is why I love it so much. But it's smooth when it closes. I mean, it's got the... Now when I'm trying to show it off, it doesn't want to work. But I love this knife. This knife is definitely up there as my top. And that one and the Concept are fighting back and forth.
Dagger's another brand that, like this,
I'm afraid to carry my concept though.
I see a lot of Dagger knives and I want to review them, but for some reason, I just,
Don't.
you have you've got the other companies around like Civivi, CJRB, all these different companies. It's like, I mean, for me, running a channel, those are the knives I feel like I need to get for the views.
Exactly.
But like, stuff like this.
But the lesser known ones that are like this, and they just perform so well.
And they're different. They're unique. They're just
I mean,
cool.
like the finger hole is,
It's a skull.
yeah,
It's
unique. You don't see those on knives,
no. And the build quality,
especially not one of that high quality.
Yeah, the build quality is really good. The ergonomics are good. I mean, it's a knife that has its own style and
Oh yeah.
personality, but it's still 100% usable.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And like you were saying, that could be an EDC/self-defense type of
yeah,
tactical
because
knife.
I mean, it has like a super pointy blade, and I've done all kinds of stuff with this knife. I carry it all the time. This one is one I carry with my real steel. They go perfect together as a set. But this knife definitely is one of my favorites. And the blue screws even looking like eyeballs. It's all around just a great knife.
And I mean, Dagger. I follow them on Instagram. I look at their stuff when it drops on Blade HQ and Knife and things like that, and they have a very distinct design language. They make some really cool stuff. They're doing some neat things, and
Yeah, I've heard like, oh, they look like Spyderco. I mean, semblances, but they're not.
here, look,
Spyderco.
I've got a PM2 with me right now. Let me grab that.
Spyderco's nice, but I like my Dagger. I know that's gonna get arguments, but
I mean, here's my PM2. Of course, this is the Tonto version. One of the few Tontos I own, and
it has some semblances.
I don't think. I mean, but it's not
But
a copy.
No,
It's not a copy.
I mean, for one, like if you look at the Spyderco, they more slope, so it's got more of a curve to it. This
Yeah.
is just a straight knife.
Yeah.
That's like the major difference. But then you got the blade shape's different.
Yeah.
The mechanics are different.
Honestly, if you just look at a picture of the, I mean, what is that called?
I can't remember.
The Sting or the Arrow?
Yeah, don't tell me.
I think it's the Sting. I think the
think
Arrow has a
so.
flipper. If I'm wrong, I'll correct it on screen. But if you look at a picture of it, it's like, oh, that's a PM2 knockoff. But when you get it in hand,
It feels nothing like a PM2.
yeah, it's nothing like a PM2. These are two completely different beasts.
and it's made out of D2.
And it's D2, a lot more affordable. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it might be
Yeah.
a good option. Like,
Spyderco are nice, but their problem is expensive.
yeah, I mean,
This knife is not that expensive, and it works phenomenal.
if you want a Spyderco, but you don't have the money to drop on one, this is a great option.
Oh yeah, I love this knife. It has not done me wrong ever, and that's why I'm carrying it today. So those are my top picks for my collection. One of them I did forget, and that was my Warwolf.
I haven't told you, I have this knife that I picked up at a Lowe's the other day, and I'm working on reviewing it. It's like a $20 knife. It kind of looks like the Warwolf. One of these days I'll have to show it to you. It's not identical, but it's got some similarities. So, yeah.
That's one. It's in my backpack at my mom's house. That's where it is. I forgot it there, but it's definitely within my top as well. So I love the Warwolf. It's that combat, that fighting knife look. I've used that knife so much. I used to carry that one all the time, and then I decided to give it a break because I carried it so much. So now I'll switch off again like I have been.
You're so kind. You're so kind.
And then there's other ones like the 8015 that I just love.
Mhm.
I love the Scorpion lock on those, and like the whole thing. Isn't that what it's called, the Scorpion lock?
Yeah, the Scorpion lock. It's interesting. A lot of our knife collecting experience we had together, like growing up, doing a lot of the stuff together, but our tastes have changed a little. Like we like a lot of the same stuff, but we also like for example, what I'm carrying today, I've got my CJRB Scoria, and you've got your Dagger.
Yeah, I got my Dagger.
And yeah, that's kind of kind of different, a little bit different design languages, huh?
Yeah, but even though we still recognize when we have a good knife, we like it, and we'll still comment it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I may not be the one that'll carry it all the time, and the same with you. You may not carry this one all the time, but we still like the knife, and we'll still carry it occasionally. just not as much as we would
Oh, yeah.
our own personal favorites.
All the knives you showed today, I think, are excellent knives.
Mhm.
Not all of them are my style, but all of them are excellent knives that I
That
think are
one's your-
super cool.
That one's your style for sure.
This one's my style. But, you know, just
And that one, except for it's black.
just all kinds of... That's one thing that's great about the knife hobby. There's so
and
many
then you
directions you can go.
Oh yeah, and then you bring someone like you bring me in. I have my own taste, and it's not just like. And then you don't try to force your style onto somebody, which is always nice.
Yeah.
You just like, yeah, you have your style, I have my style. They're all good knives. I just carry what I like, and you carry what you like.
Exactly.
So that's
All
my
right.
that's my top, for sure.
Great list. We ended this on a positive message.
Yes, we did.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did,
Oh yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and then obviously go through all his videos. They're all great. They're all informative. Great if you don't know about a knife and you're like, I don't know if I should buy it. I don't know if it's good or whatnot. He's more than likely got a review on some. He's got a lot of reviews on knives. That's all he does. So
adios.
he's most likely got one.